Welcome to Soccer As We Like It, the Man United direction. And today we'll do the match preview of the match post-game about the match between Man United and Spurs, where Man United won by 2-0. A game United dominated from front to end. One of the games United have not done like this for a very long time. A lot of people were surprised to see how dominant United were, made a very good Spurs team look so ordinary. Joining me today is Louis Houston Red Army. Louis, welcome to the show today, mate. How
What's
are you?
going on, Big Tim?
Prior to that game, we played Newcastle, a 0-0 draw. Newcastle, every man behind the ball. United were lucky not to lose that game. 2 headers hitting the post back to back. Newcastle had everyone behind the ball the last 20 minutes of the game. The next game was Spurs, a much better team with Conte at the helm. Son, Kane. Most United fans were thinking, I'll take a point. But it wasn't the case, mate. Tell me what you thought about that game, mate.
I'll say this, man. I was actually pretty optimistic going into it. I definitely thought we could have gotten a win. And I did not see a domination that no one, I think, could have predicted. When I saw the lineup for Tottenham, Conte got it wrong, didn't he? You know what I mean? He got it wrong. Son and Kane are 2 players that you would think could run the top by themselves. I kind of understood, I think, what he was going for, having 5 in the midfield. Basically, look, if you're coming up against this Manchester United side right now, especially without an Eriksen, you don't know if Casemiro is going to start or not. You think we're going to dominate in the midfield. We're gonna put numbers there. We're gonna keep the ball. We're gonna control the ball. And it clearly just didn't work out that way. I mean, you just think that we're going to be outdone. I think everyone in their mama basically saw Fred in the team sheet and went, "Oh my God, what are we doing?"
After
Nobody thought
the poor performance against
yeah,
Newcastle.
he had a very, very bad game against Newcastle. Everybody looks at that and says, "What's going on here?" I think he definitely had something to prove.
Yes.
And look, I mean, for the entire first half, my eyes were basically completely on Fred. I wanted to see what he was going to do. No, I was really watching him because I thought, look, when he's in the team, you know he's going to work for you. You know he's going to go 100 miles an hour. You know he's going to bust his butt. He's going to work as hard as he possibly can, and he's going to win a lot of balls for you. When the ball is on his foot, we get nervous. Technically, he is a very inconsistent player. And when he tries to feed the balls in through the middle of the field, very Brazilian style, on the floor, nice through passes, he's looking for those balls, I get nervous. And I was very nervous for the first 10 minutes. He was playing extremely direct, right?
High up.
And the first few balls that he put in, he tried to put Rashford in a couple of times. He tried to put Anthony in a couple of times, and they didn't come off. And I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? Then he gets a ball through to Rashford that nothing turns out. Yeah, it comes into nothing. And then he gets a ball through to Anthony that I think he gets a shot, and either he hits the post or he barely misses it. It goes wide to the left.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Mans is cooking. He's cooking something up. Casemiro, Martinez, and Varane, masterclass. The high line, allowing Dalot and Shaw to play a little bit higher to get in towards the opposing half. Spurs could not play out of their own 18.
They couldn't.
And this was the clearest picture of Ten Hag football that we've seen all season. It was Ten Hag's best game by an absolute mile and a half. I mean, you cannot fault anyone in the Manchester United camp for that game. Everyone was extremely well-rounded. Mistakes were made. I'm not saying that everyone is absolutely perfect, but it was a well-rounded, off the training ground, well thought out, just all around masterclass, man. And they put Spurs to the fire. They put him to the fire.
Because I had the Spurs fan on yesterday, a friend of mine back home in London. He was Ian. He said, first of all, I want to congratulate United. He said, United just dominated Spurs from beginning to end. He said Spurs just could not come out of the half. They ran out of ideas. He said this Man United team, if they could keep this up consistently, they could easily make top four. He said like Spurs. He said now he could see United will struggle against a low block team, but a big team they'll go there and destroy. He said just like Spurs, it does happen. But he was so impressed that that performance you guys put was a masterclass. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I think the reason Newcastle was so successful is because they looked at the
game.
They looked at the Europa League game against what is it, Ammonia or how
Ammonia and Newcastle.
Yeah. I mean, they saw that and they said, look, Newcastle is way better than Ammonia.
Yes.
They have it makes complete sense for them to have the confidence to say we can do that but better. We can do that, we can do it better, we can catch United on a counter, and then we'll be fine. Luckily enough, they didn't catch us out really. We in that aspect we were better, but I mean it becomes clear that the lack of creativity, the lack of, and then of course just the struggles in the midfield. We pressed high against Ammonia, we pressed high against Newcastle, we won
just could not go past Francis Uzono,
field, but
the goalkeeper.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, that keeper was awesome. But it became very clear that just the connection from the midfield to the forwards, it's still not there. It's still not there. It was much better against Spurs on Wednesday, but
yes,
man, it still needs work.
It still needs work. So with that saying, does Eriksen come back right in, or we give Fred a run of more games?
Difficult because when an Eriksen is fit, you kind of prefer that player going forward. I would, it also depends on Varane as well, right? As long as he stays fit, then you can rely on a Martinez, Varane, Casemiro triangle in the midfield to disrupt that midfield play, to disrupt, playing high, playing on the half field line, disrupt the build up, disrupt the play, keep us pushing forward. And then if you have an Eriksen there with a Bruno, you would expect that those forward balls come a little bit easier, that those split balls come a little bit easier, that you're able to play on the front foot, that you can create something, you can score goals. That being said, Fred did have a good game. I will take nothing away from it. I was super concerned. He was he man of the match, or was it Bruno?
It was they gave it to what's his name? They gave it to what's his name there? Martinez, and they gave it to Martinez and Bruno.
Fair. And again, that's completely fair. But I mean, he was a contender. He was a contender for man of the match. He played really, really well. I think Bruno was a contender.
I thought Bruno played well, considering the last two games.
It was his best game in a while. It was his best game in a while. Against Newcastle, he was completely gone. Like,
erratic in passing, the crossing is just
it was gross. Yeah.
But yesterday he kept the ball a bit longer before he distributed.
Right, exactly. And you have to take that into account, right? If you're saying, okay, Eriksen is fit, Fred had one good game, can he have consistency? And it's something that I keep saying Bruno. It's something that Fred has lacked for a long time. He has lacked consistency.
Yep.
I would expect a Ten Hag if Eriksen is fit. I think he starts. I think if Fred can find that consistency, look, Eriksen is older. He's going to have to come off at some point, and that is a perfect situation for Fred to come in, for McTominay to come in and clean up. They're two midfielders that are aggressive midfielders that like to play forward, but they're just not consistent enough to go 90 minutes for us.
That's 100% right.
They have to come off the bench. And look, man, if I'm coming off the bench for Manchester United, it's a dream come true. You know what I mean? I think they have to look at it more in that aspect. I don't think that they can have the head on them to say, "Oh, I deserve to start because I had one good game."
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the world we live in,
No.
Until they are consistent, until he has those types of games back to back to back, then I don't see him starting every single game for us.
Right.
Definitely not.
So the lineup you saw yesterday, the difference between that and the Newcastle lineup was Ronaldo played up front, no creativity. That last chance that fell to Rashford, we know Rashford doesn't know how to head the ball straight. We know that fact.
I think every pundit, everyone watching that game definitely says Ronaldo scores.
100%. The way Casemiro made that pass was exquisite.
Yeah.
The way he just made that, like, whoa. It made it look so easy. So fast forward, we came yesterday. So what was your take on Anthony and Sancho? Sancho yesterday disappeared to me. I thought he disappeared in the game. In the second half, he was nowhere to be found.
First half, I think he had his moments. I think that
intermittently,
yeah, definitely. I think maybe there was a lack of service there again, a little bit, but at the same time, he's not the Sancho that we remember from
Borussia Dortmund.
He's not that Sancho, and maybe I don't know if it's a style issue. I don't know if it's a dressing room issue. I don't know if it's a personal issue. Look, for me, if I was to watch the game at Newcastle, and then I say, okay, right, I got to figure something out different to go in towards Spurs. Clearly, Ten Hag got it right. Clearly, it worked. Clearly, he got it right. But if I'm coming off that Newcastle game, I'm thinking to myself, Rashford starts off the left. I put Ronaldo back up.
Right.
That's my thought to it. And again, like, look, Ronaldo gets so much flack, and rightly so. I think he's had a poor run of it lately. But at the same time, he is a player that,
do you think the crosses?
He's a player that look, he wants to have the ball. We want to get him the ball, so we play him the ball in moments where we don't need to play him. Right. Let me put it to you that way. We're forcing it towards the 9 when Ronaldo is in. When Rashford is in and he's playing as a 9, we have that expectation that he's not a 9. He's not a striker.
Right.
We have that expectation that we want to get balls in wide. We want to whip balls in low. We want to play through balls through the middle at his feet, something that he can run onto. That's how, if we played the same style with a Ronaldo in, he gets more chances. Does he score more goals?
Do you think they create? We debated this during the week because they're saying Anthony and Sancho do not whip crosses into the box. They don't, especially Sancho.
Yeah, no, look, they don't whip crosses into the box. Look who sends our crosses into the box. They're usually out of the midfield.
Yeah.
They're usually out of the midfield. Look, they're Sancho and Anthony they're players with a lot of skill. They like 1v1s. They like taking. I mean, Rashford is the same way, frankly. You know what I mean? They like to get the ball in when they do make those cutbacks, when they make those run into the box. That is a moment where Ronaldo is smart enough to free himself.
Yes,
he'll free himself, back post, tap-ins, those kinds of things. That's what you're looking for. We don't play him those types of balls.
Right.
You know what I mean? When it's 20 minutes to go against a Newcastle, and you have to whip balls in high, and you have to get crosses into the box because it is crunch time, and you take him out, that to me was a very poor decision. It was a very poor decision, and I think that the entire decision is it's all pictured in that moment when Rashford misses the header. As soon as Rashford misses the header, you have to realize that was the wrong choice. You know, if they said, look, last 20 minutes, we're gonna keep the same style. We're just going to go at him. We have the ball anyway. We're going to look to play the ball on the ground. We're going to look to play the ball through. We're going to look to find Rashford defeat. That's different. That's completely different, but it's not. You're running out of time. You want the 3 points. You're playing crosses into the box. A lot of the time, they don't go to anybody. And then when you finally find someone, he doesn't have the class to put it on. So look, the game, especially for United, is so it's so it depends on all these variables, right? It's
Right.
always changing. It's so fluid. And you have to play towards your players' strengths, especially, now when it's, when there is inconsistencies, and it's different week to week, you have to find out what works. We know we can play Ronaldo crosses, so let's play him crosses. We know that, we know we can.
Let me stop you there. Who
Go
puts
ahead.
the crosses in? Last season, when we did a survey, most of the good corner kicks that were taken by Telles, and the corner kicks were able to be connected by Ronaldo's head.
Yeah.
Since Telles has left, the ball's quality into the box has completely dropped drastically.
Yep.
So, and no one is scoring balls with headers at the moment at United. It's ball to feet.
Right.
So
look, ideally, look, for me, if I just had to pick a player right now, ideally, I would tell Bruno, look, you're supposedly our most accurate spot kick taker. Take the corner. Take the corner. You want to be in the box. You want to score goals. You don't score goals off of corners for us, man. Sorry, you don't. You don't score, like, even if we put you at the top of the box, even if you're there to just clean up loose balls, you don't score off of corners for us. You're supposedly really, really accurate. I would put you there. However, you play for Manchester United. I don't care if you're third string U23. You play for Manchester United. You have to be able to put a cross in.
Definitely,
you have to be able to put a cross in. If you cannot put a cross in, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
What are we doing? Someone has to step up and say, I can do it for us. I think there's a bit of selfishness in that. I think some players don't want to be the cross taker, but like, look, homie, if you get an assist, we all score. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's egos. It seems like it is to me. I'm not in the dressing room, but push Bruno there. If it doesn't work, somebody else has to be able to put crosses in towards the box, and you have to try to get it to Ronaldo's head. You have to try in that moment. What you don't do is force it through multiple defenders to try to get it to his feet. Yeah. After a poor build-up play that almost didn't work in the first place.
Exactly.
That we play really, really well when we play through the wings, when we play even Fred getting those through balls through the middle today was very, very nice. It's not always on for us. We play through the wings. We like to get the ball in between. Basically, it's in between the 18 and the 6, right into that space. We love to get balls into there. Get balls in there. Find Ronaldo at his feet. He's going to be open, and play him that way. Don't force it to him. If you force it to him just because he's Ronaldo, he's marked. He's Cristiano Ronaldo. No one's letting him. No one's letting him play easy balls.
You make a very valid point there, but hopefully, that is what they should start to initialize. Now, after all said and done yesterday, we all know what's happened.
Yeah.
What did you score the team on a scale of 1 to 10 yesterday?
The team overall, I mean, high marks. I'll give him an 8. I'll give him a 9. It was high marks.
Wow.
Everyone stuck to their roles,
right?
And they stuck to the instructions from the manager, and they carried it out. And I will say this: from Moyes to Solskjaer to Ranić, we've had a abysmal time following instructions.
Oh yeah.
And we've always said, right, either they're incapable of playing the style the manager wants, or they don't want to. So and it looks like, according to the game yesterday, we can play this style. So if we can do it,
right
now, are we doing it? Is everybody stepping up and doing their job?
Is everyone on the same train? Right.
Yeah. So high marks, definitely.
How are you rating? What did you give Ten Hag yesterday for tactics, selection, and substitution yesterday?
Again, high marks. 8, 9, easy. It was a bit I think people were really upset to see maybe a Ronaldo on the bench. Maybe they were upset to see Fred in the midfield. I think they were really, really worried about that against a team like Spurs, but he got it right. End of the day, you know what I'm saying? Right. So good on him.
Right. Now, as you know, we all know what's happening. Ronaldo walking off. He was told to warm up. You saw him jogging Eriksen. Elanga comes on, Ericsson comes on, Ronaldo doesn't come on. He walks off and leaves the stadium altogether. Doesn't stay to congratulate his teammates. I get it. Where do you stand on this?
I get it. 100%. I get it. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You've been disrespected. You've been humiliated. I feel you. I absolutely feel you. My heart breaks for you because you're one of my absolute all-time favorite players. You are still one of the greatest players who's ever played the game. You're still one of the greatest players in the world. You're not bigger than Manchester United, homie.
100%.
You need to get that in your head right now. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I would never wish it on anyone, but you do not get up in the middle of a game and walk out. If one of my players did that, if one of my players was upset, maybe I pulled them off or they weren't having the game and they left. No, man. No, we're having talks. We're having talks. There's no way you get out. And look, and I think Ten Hag responded the way he should. He's suspended. You know what I mean? And you would do that with any player.
100%.
At the end of the day, look, the manager's in charge. You know, I think that when you have a Ronaldo, when you have a Messi, when you have a Lewandowski, when you have a player with stripes, right? You have to respect them. I think that, you have to talk to them in a certain way. You have to be open to listen, to take in their perspective and their understanding and work with them. You know what I mean? Because they've earned it. And Ronaldo has earned so much more than he's being given. I totally feel for him. But I will not sit there and
condone
say,
the way he's going about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I wouldn't even say, like, I don't even think the way that he went about it necessarily is like abysmal. I'm not going to say, oh, I'll chuck him out my club or nothing like that. I would never say that. But I will say you will have to accept the consequences. You will have to accept the consequences. I think the consequences were fair. I think getting suspended is fair. And I think that
it should be fined as well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably something that's going to happen. And look, I'm going to be like, dude, pay it, man. And
he said that they said he's not in the squad for Chelsea. He'll be training by himself till the next game after the Chelsea game.
Yeah.
I think what I'm sensing here is he's fighting his own demons, whereby he's fighting against not being able to do what he thinks he should be doing, whereby it's like trying to accept, like, is this where I am now, whereby I can't even come on and deliver. I can't deliver. So is that thing like he's coming to terms? Like,
I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's that, because I mean, look what happened at Everton. Martial gets hurt, he comes on and he delivers. You know what I mean? He's still a quality player, and anyone who says that he's not is you've lost the plot. You know what I mean? And people will say this is a scapegoat or whatever, but that whole situation, the way it blew up, it was completely avoidable.
Yes.
But where it all comes from, it stems from, again, the top. It stems from the top. Yeah. Ronaldo, I will. He is a legend of the club. I will respect him as a legend of the club until the day I die. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, same man.
He had every right, every reason to leave in the summer.
Yes.
He had every right, every reason to leave. He wanted to leave. He had clubs that were interested in him. Were they great clubs? No, but they were Champions League clubs. The difference is, because of multiple factors, mostly the time frame in the transfer window that it happened, no one wanted to pay for him. Yeah. And I understand it. I understand not wanting to pay for him. I get it from a business standpoint. No one wanted to pay for him. And the Glazers were like, look, we still want 15+ million for you. Because look, you leave, we still have to pay dividends, don't we? So, you create this monster. So he doesn't go on preseason. He's upset. He's ready to spill the tea, because apparently that came out. Like, if he had left, apparently all this stuff was going to come out about why he left, because he still has great respect for the club. I think he still has great respect for the fans.
He released a statement.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's like, you know, he's going to tell them like, look, this is not the club that I love. This is not the club that I left. And you know, he's at a point where it all blew up, it all boiled over because it wasn't handled properly.
Yes.
And it's not Ten Hag's fault. Ten Hag did what a manager would do. A
100%.
manager has to control the locker room and has to control the players. So he did.
Yeah.
He left. He suspended him. So
Simple.
Ten Hag 100% is in the right. This comes
100%.
from the toxicity and the poison from the top. This is where this comes from.
100%. I can't agree with you more. I think the punishment was justified. I think Ten Hag's statement yesterday saying, "I'm not going to deal with this today. I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy the victory we got today," and I get it. He did what he did today as a manager. As you know, it's serialized, it's sensationalized on all the papers, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Footballers who have never achieved anything, ex-footballers who've never achieved anything in their lives, coming out like, "Oh, he should never play for the club again," blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah. No,
but end of
yeah,
day, so it's
it.
like, you look like, who are you guys to say anything? No one is saying what he did was right. But the way some of these people who are coming out, "Oh, he needs to be fired. His contract needs to be burnt. His contract needs to be terminated." These are ex-footballers, not Man United ex-footballers, ex-club players who are these clubs like never even won a trophy in their whole life in their career. But they have so much to say.
Never was.
And they have so much to say.
Yep.
You know, they never had that stellar career ever. They didn't even win a single trophy in their whole life. But they have so much to say on a radio station and on Sky Sports.
Yeah.
It's what I mean? Like,
easy. It's so easy to comment from the outside looking in. Of course, for a footballer of his stature,
because you could see the bias is already there. So
100%.
It's always there.
It's you know, every Messi fan will say that he's washed up and that he has nothing to offer, and that he's just a crybaby. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, look at what he's already won with Manchester United. Not even all the Ballon d'Or and all the Champions Leagues that he won with Real.
He's the only player. The last Premier League player, I think the only Premiership player since 2008, 14 years ago, no Premiership players won a Ballon d'Or since then. He was the last.
Yeah. I mean, like, it is, and you know, that's why, like, a situation like this, it is a little bit difficult to dissect, right?
Yes, it is.
We don't know exactly everything that involves around it, but what we definitely can say is, look, he disrespected the manager, he disrespected his teammates, he disrespected the club 100%. How much has he been disrespected by the board? How much has he been disrespected by the ownership? You know what I mean? How much has he been disrespected just by the leadership of this club that, frankly, are not looking out for players or even the team, but are just looking out for bottom line? You know what I mean? And look, I don't know exactly what they promised him when he came in, whether they said, "Look, we value your input, we value your influence, like, please help us figure out what's wrong with the club." I would like to think that that's what they did, but I don't know if they did that. So if they did tell him, like, we value what you have to say, like, tell us if something is wrong, maybe he did that, and then they just completely blew him off. And you know what I mean? Because he probably went in there and said, "Look, I need a CDM, I need a center back. We need, XYZ, like, the training ground is shit. Like, do something about that."
Yeah. He said there was still
something about that. Like, this is, and like, even Ranić said open heart surgery. And then what happened? Like, he got the boot, right? But, Ranić doesn't sell t-shirts like Cristiano does. So maybe they just said, maybe they just did a LeBron James on him and said, shut up and dribble. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if that is the situation, then absolutely, I totally 100% understand. I don't agree. I don't think it was right. I understand completely.
Right. Let's go into the game against Chelsea at the Bridge on Saturday. Man United away to the Bridge, where we haven't really been successful over the last couple of seasons. Where do you see United? Chelsea have been stop, start. But since the new manager, what's his name now? I can't remember now. He has Potter. They've kind of stabilized the ship.
Yeah.
And they've started to grind out results slowly. Do you
Yeah,
think United could get a result? And if they can, what's your predicted score, please?
it's really, really difficult to say. Um, Here's what I think has to happen. Either I would like to see the back four and the six stay the same. So if
Right.
the back four and Casemiro stay the same, it allows you to push up the field. Now, look, when we're playing away, we don't play the style that we saw at Old Trafford, right?
No, we don't.
And but that's the thing though. If we play too much on the heel, if we play too much on the back foot, Chelsea is a team that with pace, with creativity, you know, with just technical skill, they will rip you apart. They'll want to play forward. They'll want to play in our half. They will want to play press a high line. Look, man, I think you go for it. I think you go for it. I say, look, this is the style that we want to develop here at Manchester United. I think that this is the style that we've seen is successful for us. Even though like against an Ammonia, like it wasn't the success that we wanted. We get the late goal, but it's high press. It's heavy possession against a weaker team. Completely, I agree. But look, you can go around and you can do it to Spurs, who, Conte made mistakes. I'm not going to negate any of that, but this is the style that you want to play. Go to Stamford Bridge, get in their face, push the line high, get the ball in high areas and see if we can score. If we do that, if we go for a result, it's going to be close. It's going to be a 1-0. It's going to be a 2-1. It's going to, you know what I mean? It's going to be something like that. And look, maybe you give up a goal early doing something like that. But even if you give up a goal early, the message from the manager, I believe, has to be like, let it go, mind of a goldfish,
heads up,
play the style,
keep.
Play the style, hammer them, get in there. That would be my message. You know what I mean? And if they do it, I would like to think that maybe we can bag something. If we play too safe, I fear that we get rolled over.
I can see that.
And yeah, and look, when you play that way against teams like a City, like a Liverpool, like a Chelsea, like an Arsenal, you allow them the freedom to play the way that they want to. You have to disrupt the style of the other team. You have to force them to change their decision. You have to force them to play backwards. You have to force them to play laterally.
We can see the thinking of, okay, this ain't working. We got to change plans.
Exactly. You have to make them uncomfortable. If they are comfortable in their own house, in front of their own fans, then of course the goals will come.
100%.
The goals will come.
You're very right.
This style, this high press style, this physical style, in your face style, it's what made Manchester United great. 100%. It was, of course, it was a little bit different. It wasn't necessarily high possession Dutch style football.
No.
But it was aggressive. It was on the forward foot.
Relentless balls into the box. Yeah. Relentless.
And what we need, and what was so refreshing from the Spurs match, what made United great under Sir Alex Ferguson, and I will say it until the day I die, it's the way I coach, it's the way I always think the game should be played. Goals have to come from everywhere. Yeah. Goals have to come from Fred, from Bruno, from Anthony, from Rashford.
You saw the Spurs keeper, like my friend said, Hugo Lloris. He did another Francis Nzono yesterday. That volley from Shaw, Bruno's free kick, Fred's shot. Rashford seems to be having one-to-ones and not being able to finish against Ammonia. He had 6 chances, all of them missed.
He's not a 9. And look, frankly, here's what I've kind of figured out, and only just recently because another coach kind of pointed it out to me. Look, Ten Hag doesn't play with a 9. He doesn't play with a 9. He puts somebody there because he has to put somebody there, and maybe they can clean something up, and maybe they can find something. He doesn't play with a 9. His style is he's not looking for it. In this Manchester United, of course, previously he has. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's never played with a 9, but I think right now he's thinking we are either completely inconsistent at striker, or we're chucking up people that are not strikers, like a Rashford, And I think that, frankly, that person is there just as a distraction. And look, it works. I think it works.
Yeah,
I think it works. I don't think it's a bad idea. Like, why can you not play a Ronaldo back to goal to feed in balls?
Mm.
To drop it to a Bruno or an Eriksson, or to feed it into an Anthony or a Sancho.
Right.
Like that, it's not, it's definitely not the way Ronaldo necessarily wants to play. I don't think Rashford is capable, unfortunately. He likes to play front to goal. He likes to take 1v1.
Yeah, not back to goal, yeah?
He likes to be in those moments. That's why, I would like to see him play off the left with a Ronaldo up top.
Right.
I think it's a little bit better. And then you can rotate a Sancho in, who is currently just
struggling,
not in form. He's not. He's just
not in form at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I was mistaken to believe he was a speedy winger, but he was not that speedy winger.
Not exactly, right?
Playing,
and yeah, and you would kind of think that. Looking at him, you would kind of think he's tall, he's strong. You would think that this guy could probably, but he's not. He's a clever winger.
Yeah.
He's clever. He's got the skill moves and that. But yeah, dude, he's in the Prem. He is struggling. He
seems to be struggling. He seems to be struggling. Right. So, like you said, you analysed the Chelsea game coming up on Saturday. Hopefully United get a result. It would be great to get a result against Chelsea on Saturday.
Did they end up winning against Brentford? Because I was watching the Brentford game. It was 0-0 for a long time. Did they end up winning that game?
Arsenal played Europa.
No. Chelsea.
0-0.
0-0. Yeah, okay, so there you go. So they're struggling still.
Yeah.
They're not.
But it was away.
Not completely where they want to be either. So look, exploit that.
Right,
Go back. Right. How did Brentford keep them at a 0-0? How did where were the places that we have to disrupt? Can we get in their face? Can we play the high line? Can we go on the front foot at Stamford Bridge? Like, I think it's possible. Possible.
A United fan wants me to ask you this.
Okay.
Do you, as a United fan, think Arsenal are going to win the league title?
Here's what I will say: Arsenal over Liverpool. Look, I think it's extremely possible. Look, they're flying. They're absolutely flying at the moment, and I haven't seen all of it, but what's the documentary that they just came out with not too long ago with Arteta and all that? Look, the manager over there did a fantastic rebuild. He brought in a massive staff, and filled every possible area that they were lacking. And frankly, they're just going at it right now. Are we still their only defeat?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, come on, bro. What can I say? We're the best team in the league. But it's possible. It's definitely possible. Liverpool are what, 10th? You know what I mean? City, probably the only team that I would rate to catch them necessarily at the top. I would love for us to just go on a crazy run and win out every game and then just catch them at the top. I don't see it happening, unfortunately. I think we still have a long way to go. It's just where they are right now. You can't say, oh, they're going to fall off. However, they do have a really bad habit of falling off after Christmas. So fingers crossed, maybe that's the Christmas miracle. They'll just lose 13 games in a row after Christmas. Typical Arsenal. We'll get Troops and Robbie back on Arsenal Fan TV, just having it, just like the vein in the forehead. Like I would look forward to that all day, every day.
Right. Louis, it's been an absolute pleasure for joining us. Are you going to be at the game on Saturday at the pub?
I'm not. I'm at a wedding this weekend, but hopefully for the next game I'll be there.
All right, Louis, it's been an absolute pleasure. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Louis has been an absolute sparkle for us today. Thanks so much, Louis, for your time.
Appreciate
I know it was short
man.
notice. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Louis, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you on the next one.
Always a pleasure, my man.
From us,
have a good night.
It's goodbye and good night. Take care, brother. Cheers.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.